You know how a lot of kids that have autism have very similar symptoms? Anything I say in this video is not to be used as medical advice. This is just my opinion based on my experience. You should always consult your doctor for their opinion. I think there's a big confusion a lot of people have because we're so used to just listening to what the doctor says and blindly following that advice without even researching because we think that's a professional. So, autism is a clinical diagnosis. It's based on observing behaviors, making a diagnosis based off those behaviors. There's nothing looked at internally to make a diagnosis of autism. When you really take a second to think about that, and you're not looking at root cause whatsoever, and you're only looking at behaviors in a lot of situations of autism, a lot of behaviors, a lot of medical symptoms that kids are having. Let's say examples: having constipation, having eczema, having intolerance to gluten and dairy. I'm not saying every child, but a lot of children having unexplained rashes on their skin. There's the nonverbal aspect or the aspect of delayed speech or delayed motor skills. Our situation, a good example of regression, where there was speech and then there wasn't. The thing that gets me is a lot of people like to say, oh, that's just autism. That's just something that happens when you have autism. You just get eczema. A lot of these kids get it. No big deal. Like, people like to just blanketly say things like that and just brush right over the situation when it's about root cause. There's a reason why a lot of these children's bodies are reacting this way. Seizures. There's things going on within the body. You have to find the root cause. You have to work with the right doctor. And a lot of the time, that is not a medical doctor. That is my opinion. That is not medical advice. A functional medicine doctor, let's just say, is the one that gets to the root cause. A doctor is not going to get to the root cause. They're going to get to trying to help you fix and manage the symptoms, and you will continue to present the way you present until you figure out the underlying cause. And it wasn't until this last year when environmental factors were really pushed, talked about, and became okay to start talking about. A lot of these kids are getting the help that they need. I would not have said this a year ago. I understand now because I've done it and I've seen it with my own child. Detoxing the body. There's so much going on within the body. Using certain supplements that help your body produce things that your body is lacking because of your genetics. It's not completely not genetic. That's not what I'm saying. Predisposition to having genetics that are susceptible to being compromised by environmental factors. If you have certain underlying genetic things going on in your body, you are now susceptible to developing autoimmune conditions and to being compromised by environmental factors if you're not getting to the root cause or understanding the things that are like going in your body. For example, your diet. There's a reason why a lot of these kids are intolerant to dairy and gluten and all, because they have leaky gut because of the processed foods and things that we're putting in our bodies. This is a huge rabbit hole. Autism is a clinical diagnosis. That gives you the basics. I think that because we're not told this at diagnosis, you have to figure this out on your own. Therefore, people don't understand that it's medical and you have to go within. You have to figure it out. You have to go to a non-medical doctor a lot of the time. Again, TikTok's really strict these days, so I'm just saying that in our experience, functional medicine advice is the advice that has helped my child get back words and start functioning with more awareness and intention. Start looking into it, okay? Understand what is going on at the root cause of the issue. Even if your child is level 1 all the way to level 3, it does not matter. If they're showing seizure or behavioral situations that you just can't figure out, they get sick a lot, or there's anything going on in their body developmentally that just isn't sitting right, they probably have a genetic predisposition that is compromising their body in some way where they need extra help, that they can detox properly, etc. If you don't try and figure it out and help their bodies, they're way more likely to develop autoimmune conditions later in life, even if they're not presenting with them now. chances of them having an autoimmune disorder, for example, asthma. That's happening a lot earlier in life now. We're exposed to a lot more environmental toxins than ever before because people are not cooking things from scratch anymore. We're eating processed food that's made ready to go. You throw it in the oven or the microwave. We're too busy to cook. And we're eating on probably toxic plates that we're just throwing away after, using toxic paper products to wipe our mouths every day, using toxic endocrine disrupting products to wash our clothing and wearing them, washing them hundreds of times a year in this stuff and then putting it on our skin. There's so much going on here. There's so many layers. Because we got lazier, environmental toxins have increased. The amount that we're consuming or exposing ourselves to just in the air alone, it's increased. Okay? Consumption has increased because there's a need, because we don't have time, because we have made our societies too busy to have time to properly take care of our families and get back to the basics. And I'm so glad that the conversation has been opened and people are starting to understand. And I'm just putting this out there just in case you needed to hear it.